Good evening, everybody. To the Estacada Traffic Public and Safety Committee meeting, July 23rd, 2024. I'd like to start with a Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Start the meeting. Start your engines, ladies and gentlemen. We'd like to have a roll call.
Commissioner Owens,
Here.
Commissioner Moriarty,
Here.
Vice Chair Dobbs,
Here.
Commissioner Sedgberg,
Here, sorry, couldn't find the mute button.
thank you. And then Commissioner Burke, Terrell, and Chair Dolezal are all absent.
Okay, very good. We come to community comments. Anybody have anything they'd like to voice opinions on? Thanks, nothing, no comments.
From the community,
Committee,
visitors?
anybody online to say something happy? Okay. All right, well, no rebuttal there. Consent agenda, and do we have a approval on that? Do anybody any discussion on the last meeting? Any thoughts on anything there? I believe the speed hump situation is under examination with Dawn and Melanie, and those things are being reviewed. The packet was, I think, 192 pages of a lot of information to select from. There was a couple of things that we had talked about with which will work out in regards to the community paying or would have to pay for an area, the discussion of should the community pay in certain areas or should the city bunt the expense. And I think we decided that we need to let the city take care of that as opposed to citizens. And then the other thing is also that if someone in a neighborhood would in agreement, they would agree to, if there was a delay in something on urgency or a request for speed humps or bumps or cushions, that they could be reimbursed for the application of those. I think that was kind of the verbiage on that was, Jim, is that kind of?
Yeah, and we're also having them written into the ordinances. So that's another plus.
With the written, ordinances written in
Yep.
to that, not only the mechanics of what's defined, but also for situational ordinance things with folks, depending on the neighborhood. So, and the agreement of the people, that's kind of what we want to bring these things forth on, so.
I actually have an update for that. The city staff went ahead and just advised that and removed it. So the pay to play option is just not currently on the table. If we want to revisit it later, it will be, but for now, it's just not. They're moving forward with looking at finalizing code and stuff like that before they present it to us. The council made some changes based off everybody's feedback. Pretty much outlining what you did. I think they're also looking into the idea of speed cushions and alternative measures for the hills.
Yeah, excellent, excellent. It's moving forward, coming to a neighborhood near you. Okay, so that being said, any other comments on the consent agenda?
Was there a motion?
Not yet.
Okay.
Someone want to put forth a motion to pass the consent agenda?
We'll make a motion.
Second?
Second.
Okay. Do I hit the hammer with this thing after that happens? No.
You'll have to
Don't
vote.
play, don't play with the hammer. What?
All in
Okay,
favor.
resolve that. What?
You have to vote still.
All in favor.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. That's where we get it going. The ayes have it. Motion passes too. Gotta have fun. Presentation and reports. Chief Mendoza, review perhaps on last night?
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to do that. So, last night, I'll go over it with you guys as well. Last night I talked with the, city council about our, how the county is working to update their current towing policies. I did learn between now and then that, a decision, I believe that it's going to be put in front of the board for decision on August 1st. But we are making or requesting for some amendments to county code on our processes for towing vehicles, specifically RVs, recreation vehicles, and trying to get around some of the challenges that we've had with that. Now, case law is continually changing with that, which makes it difficult. We have to keep up with that on how we operate and what our processes are. But this, what we're doing is we're working with our county council to try to come up with some different ways of going about removing these hazard RVs or the ones that have been condemned, and how to remove people from them. So in short, we are looking into utilizing an administrative warrant process that's separate from criminal, but administrative warrant that will allow us to enter one of these RVs and remove anyone. The example is, we're knocking on the door, we're going to tow it. We know somebody's inside, but they won't open the door for us. So we just need that legal authority to enter and remove them so that we can remove that RV. So we're working on that. My suggestion to the council is wait, see how this plays out with the county. And then, with the possibility of if this is, if it's working, then we'll probably do a request with the city to adopt that same code. And if it needs some tweaks, then we'll know from practice within or out in the county. So that's, we're looking forward to that. It's just another tool
Yeah.
that we can use.
Good tool.
The second thing that I covered was how how House Bill 4002, which is also known as the rollback to Measure 110, how that's going to work and take effect. And really, the option was for counties to adopt what they call a deflection program. It's kind of an opportunity for someone to seek treatment and have their drug charges, if they were arrested, go away, kind of get out of jail free card type of thing. And the whole point behind it is, if we come in contact with somebody that has a drug problem, is to offer them treatment and get them going down the correct path. There are a couple key factors for us in Clackamas County, how we're operating is all the chiefs and the sheriffs got together and discussed this with the DA's office and came up with a process that seems to work for everybody. The DA's office is leading this program, and the DA has placed one of their deputy DAs in charge of it to oversee it for the next year, and then they're going to evaluate how that's going. Essentially, when user amount of drugs become illegal again, when they move from being what they are currently a violation, similar to a seatbelt citation, they're moving to an unclassified misdemeanor, which is, I describe this as halfway back to where they were previously. They were most of them were felony crimes. So it's going to be an unclassified misdemeanor. The most notable thing about an unclassified misdemeanor is that a person can be placed on probation if they are convicted of that, and then that carries all the weight of, you know, being on probation or supervised by our community corrections folks. So there are some consequences if they don't follow through, what the consequences are, or what their judgment is. But for, you know, what we're going to see line level for officers and deputies are, if we come into contact with someone who's in possession of drugs, we now can, you know, they'll be illegal. They can place them under arrest, and that arrest could be a physical custody where they're taken to jail, or it could be a citation in lieu of custody where they're written a citation and given a court date. All of these cases from on the road with the deputies will be handled in the same way, same fashion, just like we would any other criminal investigation. We'll collect the evidence, we'll process that and prepare it for criminal prosecution, just in case it goes that route. It'll be submitted to the DA's office. The DA will then review each case and determine whether or not it meets their criteria, what they've set out for this deflection process. It does not, and it will not deflect or expunge or, you know, absolve other criminal activity. There has been, I think, some discussions around, like, you know, whether these low-level crimes should be included in that, but that is not the direction that we're going to go in Clackamas County, is just dealing with the drug charges. If a person is offered deflection and they proceed through the process as they should, as it's laid out, then those charges will essentially go away for the drug charges. If they don't follow through with the program, then the DA's office will prosecute them for those criminal charges. It's my understanding that I don't know if we're the only one, but the only one. Well, I should say that there are, I know, discussions in Multnomah County on how many times somebody would be offered deflection, and that number is fairly high on the amount of opportunities they're going to give someone. I know in Clackamas County here, it sounds like we're willing to offer one opportunity, and then we'll proceed with the criminal matters. Whether someone goes to jail or gets a citation, there are a lot of factors that go into that, and that'll be determined by the deputy on scene, situation, you know, that's unfolded in front of them. Are there other crimes involved? You know, things like that. There are certain situations where our jail won't accept certain people due to you know, like, for example, a medical condition. We might end up taking somebody to the hospital instead. But it'll still be processed as a crime, just like we would anything else. And then one of the things that's happening, the reason the DA's office is going to determine who's eligible for deflection is because the state is requiring and wanting to know who gets offered deflection and why. And this kind of takes that, you know, the pressure off the sheriff's office on who gets it. It's just a criteria that's set out by the DA's office, and the deputies won't have to make that determination, you know, roadside in the middle of the night when they arrest somebody. That's essentially how that deflection process is going to work. Our deputies are going to receive training from the DA's office and from our training division throughout next month, the month of August, and then this takes effect September 1st. So we are expecting to see, you know, drug arrests occur, but more than likely those, a question that came up last night is often how we come across people in possession of drugs is through other criminal activity anyway. And so it's hard to say at this time, like, what those numbers are going to look like. We're all kind of waiting to see. A question that had come up last night was, is the jail prepared to, you know, for an influx of inmates if they are prosecuted. Um, Essentially, our jails tends to operate at a maximum or close to maximum level at most times. And so it is something that we're prepared to monitor, see what those numbers look like, and then make adjustments if necessary. So at this time, we're all kind of waiting to see what happens with that. Those were the two things I reported to council yesterday. And I did want to give this committee an update. I know we had some discussions about the area along the river. I had spoken with one of our deputies that he's put in his, we gave that to him as a special project. He's put in his routine to go down there at least once a week and check the area. He has not come across any specific encampments that he's found or had to kick anybody out, but his presence there is has been noted. We're working on trying to get that area cleaned up all the way, working with the different private entities down there to make that happen. But it's something that he's watching out for. There was a concern about a truck down on Beach, and the
Beach
uh,
Arch?
let's see. Yeah, on Larch and Beach is what he's telling me here. The truck with the trailer.
Yes.
The subject with that truck was arrested on some warrants. So that I would imagine that when that gets cleared up, the truck will get moved, or we'll end up towing it from just a disposition of being there for an extended period of time. So it's an area that he's definitely paying attention to and watching.
Great news.
Yeah.
Where do we sit with the staffing levels right now with deputies for Estacada as far as the shifts?
Yeah,
Are
we're
we-
looking really good right now. We're projecting to bring on a fourth patrol deputy in March. That's a projection, but I'm fairly certain that's going to happen in March. And that will get us essentially, say is near 24-hour coverage, and including the SRO that we have in the schools. So yeah, that coverage is looking really good right now. I do have some bittersweet news that we are going to lose one of our nighttime deputy because he had applied for one of our canine positions and he was selected. There was some tough competition, but they selected him for that position, which just means he's a hard worker and a good guy. So I'm happy for him. I'm sad to lose him, but we'll when the next schedule starts, he's not leaving it until the next schedule starts, and we'll have a replacement. It'll be seamless, but we will have a new deputy in town.
Anybody have any other questions?
I question just a statement to the chief. I appreciate you guys working in regards to that with this new drug policy going back on. Just looking at the fire department going back to, I think, March and April with all these opioid overdoses. So it affects Estacada.
Yeah.
And it even says on one of these calls that the narcotics team is investigating. So that's good to hear that. Gentleman over there with the RV and the truck hooked up. We appreciate that.
Yep.
'Cause-
Our
Thank you for that.
our drug task force, they do a lot of, they're kind of in the shadows doing a lot of work that we can't necessarily talk about. And it seems like years later, we can talk about the case, but they're very busy and they do some good work.
Awesome. Thank you. That's all I had.
That's good. That's good news.
Very good.
Yeah. I just had one question. If, I don't know how this flies, but if somebody's walking down the street and they're jacked up on drugs, is there any way to do anything at that moment in time? I mean, they're screaming and yelling and pushing a cart and just out of it? What is, I mean, if you drove by somebody like that, what
Mhm.
would, would anything happen?
Yeah, that's a challenge because in the state of Oregon, there are no crimes for being under the influence of drugs. And there's no crime for, having mental health issues, right? If you're in a mental
Yeah.
health crisis.
Yes.
So we can definitely try to, communicate and
Communicate.
start a conversation with a person like that. My experience is when they're that agitated and they're in that state, that those tend not to go so well, but we can obviously reach out and try to offer them some assistance. If a person is deemed to be a danger to themselves or others, or gravely disabled that they can't take care of themselves, then we can force them to go to a hospital. Those are a little bit more extreme situations, but it can be done in a situation where somebody's, yelling and acting strange and walking down the sidewalk. Maybe if they're, add to the scenario that they're stumbling into traffic, or, they've got maybe some wounds, some fresh wounds, like they're injured. They appear like, they're not taking care of themselves, like they really need to go to the hospital, then we can have some interventions there with the mental health aspect. But the being under the influence of drugs, unfortunately not after September 1st. However, if we did have a legal reason to stop and detain somebody, or we just stopped with mere contact and had a conversation, and it evolves to the point where, we're finding out if they do have drugs or drug paraphernalia on them. There's some residue, those are the types of things where someone could be placed under arrest.
So in this question is, and that's, I understand what you're saying. I know September is the line when things shift. So, do you, or would it be recommended if somebody's on drugs that is kind of losing it, verbally, and, couldn't go disturbing the peace or something like that, but would it be right for a citizen to call you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think in a situation like that, a person could call the non-emergency number and
Non-emergency,
ask
okay.
for a welfare check on a person that looks like
Okay.
they're mentally unstable or under the influence, and the deputy will go over there and
Okay.
chat with them.
That was a question recently. What do you do in a public surrounding and somebody has, been affected greatly by a drug, and do you, non-emergency is the thing.
Yeah, it would be non-emergency unless you felt that, there was some sort of danger to someone, active thing happening, then a 911 phone call would be appropriate.
Chief, expanding on Carrie's question, I worked in the city where we had the city county jail, but we also had a facility that was called Detox. And it was an alternative to jail, and the only people that you could place in there were people under the influence, and it didn't matter if it was alcohol or drugs, as long as the officer could articulate in his report that the alcohol part's easy, because when you would take them in there, they'd make them blow the machine to see if they could register. But like Carrie's saying, drugs don't register on the alcohol thing. But if the officer could articulate in his report that he was acting erratic, he had dilated pupils, he had all the other indicators for drug, you could actually put him in there. They had to stay 10 hours, whether it was alcohol or drugs. Does the county have any facility set up like that? And if not, do they have any plans to get something, which is an alternative? It obviously lessens the population of the jail. It allows that person to get the drugs, alcohol out of their system. There was no ticket. They went in there, so basically it was a get out of jail free card for them, because there was no accountability for them to come back to court. There was no fine associated. It was just public safety, get them someplace. It was secured facility. And 10 hours later, when they're sober and clear-minded, they were let out. Do we have anything like that?
Yeah, good question. So we have, in the past, we did have a facility like that was in Portland, and it had been there for decades. But I would say around 8-10 years ago, they closed down. It was called Hooper Detox, and they closed down. And essentially since then, we've had no place to take such persons. Currently, I know that the sheriff has been working um, with the county it's called H3S Health, Human Family Services, something that I'm butchering their name, but H3S is their acronym. They're working with them to try to open up a facility similar to that. I don't know the extent of what will be allowed to take there and what, what conditions, but that is something that's in the works. So we're kind of waiting to see what happens with that.
Would that be in our county?
That would be in Clackamas County.
so-
Yes, I have heard that Multnomah County is working on a facility. I don't know what they're going to accept there, but I don't believe that's going to be open to agencies outside of Multnomah County. So we're looking at opening some sort of center that's kind of, as you described, halfway between jail and the hospital.
Right.
Good job. Good stuff coming.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Chief. Estacada, Fire Chief's report on that. Did anybody review that? See, that was, Jim mentioned that. I know it's a printout here. It's got some really good, detail on what's happened in the procedure of emergency calls. And then I'm working, of course, with law enforcement there for, taking out the situations for which required law enforcement. So any comments or anything? Did anybody check that out, read that over?
A lot of info.
Lot of information, yes. I mean, the fire department is involved in the community big time. I didn't know if someone was going to be here from the fire department.
No, I think John tried to see, but they didn't have the availability
Okay.
to, and he just wanted to include that for everyone to see. I think it's only part of the report too.
Oh,
I think he's told me the specific pages to include that were the most relevant to the committee. But the report was pretty large, so there is more information available on their website. But this was like specific data that was more relevant to Estacada's.
we want to acknowledge their service and their commitment to the public and the administration there. And if you're watching, thank you very much. We have now the National Night Out Subcommittee, some update on that. Jim, you want to say something?
Yeah, sure. We, Carrie, Heath and I all met and, we made sure that we had some, things that we ordered for Evelyn, everything passed on to you. And we just wanted to make sure that, especially with Dawn, that we have the pop-ups and everything ready to go. What is it, 3:30?
I would say we could,
3
I
o'clock?
could be at 3 o'clock for setup time.
You could-
Just to be able to get the ducks in a row, and communicate with Don on whatever he has to offer, like last year.
Yeah.
And,
Do you have Don's email or phone number?
I do,
Okay.
Yes,
and we'll communicate with him.
okay.
I know Heath has been working on this. I believe Heath is online. Is he? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So, did you have anything to say, Heath?
I've got a bunch of emails out. We've got a lot of confirmations. WIM may not be quite as populated as last year, but I think we're more directed at what we were looking for. As far as who's representing, and Chief Mendoza graciously said that he's going to bring the entire force down with
Me.
everything they've got. So,
With helicopter?
They're all rappelling down.
Awesome. And there was just one other thing. I know we had just a small issue last year if we could, if that's all right with the city, we could put out some signs on some of the cones there in the grass area to do not park there for the whole day.
Yeah.
Just because everybody works all 3 shifts. We all have people, not just law enforcement and fire, but and federal government, the parks over here. We just can't have anybody in there.
You can coordinate that with Don and he can have the
Okay.
guys go out and set that up.
Awesome. Thank you.
Jim, I got a question, and it's probably too late to try to work this into the deal, but it just kind of came to mind when I was at it last year. Could we get some folding chairs out there to where people who come could feel like, hey, I'm here, I'm going to stay for an hour or two? The only people that had chairs last year, obviously, were the workers.
Mhm.
The people that come and visit, if they're handicapped or they're a little bit elderly, whatever, being on their feet too long, they're there for about 10 minutes, they hit the tents and they want to get home.
Right.
Make it more of a community situation where people feel like, hey, there's a place over there, maybe get a large tent that kind of gives them some shade. Throw in 50, 60 folding chairs where people can just sit and stay a couple hours and visit. I mean, I don't even know if we have the room for it, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying, I just thought last year I
We could
kept
do that.
thinking, man, they're making a visit, they're hitting the tents, but
Right.
it was hot, they didn't want to stand. Out they went. Could
Do
we
we-
maybe incorporate that?
Do we have access to
If
some
it
chairs?
Has its own supply of chairs.
Okay.
That could be a Dawn question.
Okay.
Yeah, there are the chairs here at City Hall. But
And we have a bunch of tables too.
I mean, just make it where they can come and sit down and eat a meal and visit with
Definitely.
neighbors and, feel like they could stay a while. And
Right.
I just think that would keep people there longer.
Oh,
See it back there?
Yeah,
Chairs stacked up?
now that Main Street looks so good and we'll go right across the street, right?
yeah.
As long as it's not raining.
Roll that Hummer over there.
Then we're in trouble.
Yeah.
Oh, and lastly, Christie's will be there. That was the one food vendor that we have that'll be there for the event. So just so everyone knows, I have some food there too.
Okay, so that's August 6th. It starts at 5 o'clock and goes till 8 PM. So that's if anybody's watching for time frame on this stuff, and they don't know. So it was good last year. The toys, Clackamas County toys are fun. Oh. The next issue brought up is the fentanyl substances subcommittee. Does anybody? Was that
John, and I'm not sure who else.
John?
Maybe Tasha.
Yeah, Tasha's out
Right.
down at this time. I don't know what they brought forth or what they've talked about, but I'm sure it's going to be in line with what's coming in September because of the shift, which is a good shift. So I don't know what the subcommittee actually discussed. Did anybody make that meeting or anything?
I didn't
Okay.
know.
I'm sure it's public awareness, which is always good. People know what's going on, so we can move out of that. Moving on to committee business, we discussed the RV parking. Chief Mendoza brought forth that, which is a great movement, I think, in moving forward on the vehicle moves a block away and still sits there and moves back and sits somewhere else, so people have it down on how to get the loopholes, but those are going to be closed. 6th and Broadway engineering study and recommendation.
yeah, Melanie finally got that report back. It's in your packet. It's a little long. There was a couple guidelines that evaluated if an all-way stop would work there. It does not meet every single guideline, so it's not recommended for an all-way stop, and alternative solutions are recommended. So Melanie kind of wanted to get your opinion on if you think if the city should try to make the case that an all-way stop would work, or if alternate solutions should be done before trying to make the argument that it works. And Melanie was suggesting like the flashing
Yeah.
pedestrian signs, kind of like
Yes.
what was installed at the school and down here. And I think there was a couple other solutions recommended. Yeah, curb extension, high visibility markings and signage, school crossing signage, and or rectangular rapid flashing beacon.
So she is recommending the push button flash, right? Is that what that's, yeah.
Yes.
How do you guys feel about that? What do you think on that? That was kind of something we were. What do you think?
I say four-way stop,
Four-way?
because on the 5th category, it says safe routes to school.
Yeah,
I
It's-
don't think we need anything else. Crash experience, sight distance, interim traffic control, or 8-hour volumes, other than the kids. That's just me.
and the elderly cross there too. That's folks in wheelchairs. You know, I don't know, the impedance of the flow of traffic from when you come from Main to Broadway. That's the acceleration zone right there. So only speaking from experience, you start to go fast till you hit the shell. But it's, I think everybody here agrees it's the kids thing. I mean, that's the season where everybody runs in front of those cars or those trucks just to get across that street. Sat there and watched it, did it when I was a little kid, so I know what it's like, but that stop gives that moment of, hey, there's kids here, you know? That's kind of my take on it from the parents' point of view, you know? Anybody rebuttal on that one? Heath? Somebody?
Nope. I agree.
Any comments?
I didn't hear what you said.
I didn't either.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So at this point, her recommendation is we're under discussion for this, right?
Yes, she wanted
Okay.
to get your opinions on it.
Okay. Okay, so four-way stop, that's what, okay,
It's the safest. I think that's also the safest way to go as well.
okay, we can take a vote on this, just on our opinions only. So what are we thinking, a four-way stop? All raise their hands for a four-way stop. Okay. Heath, did you raise your hand?
Sure did.
Basically, we can just make that recommendation to the city council
Yeah,
to talk
Perfect.
about and see how you guys feel about it, maybe get some public input.
okay,
Sounds good.
so our liaison is there. If it's just, these are just our vote for suggestions. Okay,
Just a way?
pardon me?
Happens.
Okay. These are thoughts and process to make something happen. Okay, I think the next thing is the thing with the speed humps, bumps, and cushions, which we kind of covered a little bit, but that's in process. It's being discussed. And I think we can just let it ride until there's a decision on that. That sounds good.
What do you mean by decision? What do you mean by decision?
It's in Dawn and Melanie's chat corner.
I think he means when it goes to city council for final approval.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just wanted to clarify to them that it's already been approved.
Okay,
It's undergoing their final format, if you will, right? Like you guys are actually making the changes that we suggested. So it's actionable to the point of review,
good.
essentially.
Got it.
The next time it comes to us, it will be for us to motion to do something with it or to add it.
The decision will be made.
It's already been made, but it will be to adopt.
Yeah,
Got it.
basically we have to write the code for it.
Okay,
Yes,
That's
it's
a good
already
thing.
been made.
okay. Very good, very good. Okay. Moving to committee reports and comments. We have anything there?
I did get some photos. I don't know if you all want me to pull those up.
Did you get the?
Yes,
photos?
the.
Jim.
Yep,
Yeah, I just wanted everyone to see the progress that they have going on up there. Of course, I don't know a lot of these. I think some of them are the maybe the Reliance, but I think when I went up there, it was a little bit more understandable, seeing the turn radiuses getting a little bit longer. Is that the right word? Or larger? Okay,
yeah, radius increase.
thank you.
And widening perhaps.
So, but definitely, they're definitely working up there. You can see on all the pictures up there. There you go.
Did you bug the county to get them to do this?
No, of course not.
That was good.
I'm just glad that we're on their radar.
Yeah. I think Jonathan kind of pursued that on behalf of our recommendation and that's how there's activity on it right now. And thank you for that, Jonathan.
Yeah, thank you.
That's that was a good pursuit. So the things that are happening are coming, they're marking. The radius will be increased, the drain will change the culvert there,
Yeah.
and in time, you'll be able to make that corner sweep there. The buses is the big thing, of
Yep.
course, because it was a bottleneck plugging up traffic coming and then blocking the view of the people trying to make a turn on the other side, so it's gonna be a good improvement in that area. As small as it is an improvement,
Yep.
but that was a good thing initiated.
They're gonna put in a whole new pipe box, the whole works. That will be completely redone. They'll probably shut down that road for the day when they do it.
Nice.
Good.
Good.
Was there any comments on information on Lawrence or? Yeah. Yes, yes,
Larry.
please. Yeah,
Wait, you gotta talk about it.
So everyone can hear you, Larry.
My name is Larry Geyer, and that's my lovely wife Carrie, and we live at the end of Lawrence Road, Jim?
Hey.
Right where the 205 interchange is going in, right by the Starbucks. Our concern mostly, I'm just going to throw this in because you're on Lawrence Road. I think that's going to be a great improvement for the end of Lawrence Road for those buses. My concern is the driveways that are going to go into Lawrence Road, and I don't know if now's the time to come in and talk about that to you guys. East of where the curves are, they're starting to mark the roads, and I'm just wondering, are you guys going to approve driveways to come out of that subdivision onto Lawrence Road right west of those curves?
Yes, it's already been approved.
So have you been up there to look at that?
No, they're going to,
No.
the developer's gonna shave the road. The local comments, this was a whole thing with traffic and public safety and everything. It's been decided for, I don't know, 2 months now.
Yeah, I understand it. It's already been approved. And I guess I'm coming down here with my my heart in the ground, but I don't understand somebody approving something when you don't go up there and look. You're looking at something on a map and it's 100% different. We've already had 2 cars go off that road. I don't know if you guys are aware of that, and 1 other accident. So, you know, I understand there has to be progress or nobody would have any place to live, but there's a smart way to do it. And putting driveways on the Lawrence Road so the developer can have 1 more house, that's not safety if you're asking me. I think you guys should really go up there and look at it. I don't know if you can change your mind about, we've already made a decision, but it's not going to be good. That's, you know.
Can I ask you a question really quick?
Yeah, please.
And this is just for clarification. So would you rather that be a 7,500 square foot lot and I think that particular lot is 65 or 70 houses, something like that? Or would you rather it be 5,000 square foot and 85 or 90 houses in subsequence? So when the council looked at it, we took under advisement, the very concerns that you had, we had an open thing where citizens came and commented and we went back and forth. I think we actually spent an incredible amount of time. And I really do value what you say. In fact, out of all the people that you would ask if I do go look, I am the one that's honest enough to tell you I didn't look at that. But I am very much out there in the community. And I will say that it wasn't an easy decision, but when we want to look at the way that the development goes, you have to really ask yourself at the end of the day, do you want more houses or bigger lots? And for us, we think that the division that the community wanted was to try to reduce the amount of houses and give people the luxury of a little bit bigger lot. And it would have required us to ask them to go back and completely redesign. And when it came down to it, they met the code for design. Going forward, just so that you're aware, the same developer is developing the next portion of that phase or the next phase. And they made the adjustment where they changed their format so that no more houses other than this one particular stretch, which I know is your concern, but no more will be going on to Lawrence outside of that. So we did, and it's a really unfortunate thing, but they're going to work with us to try to open that up as much as we can. Now, when the urban growth boundary changes someday, if it does, Lord help us, it doesn't. But if it, for some reason it does, then that would be a time that we can address that more, but we're right up against the UGB right there.
Well, and I can appreciate that. And I know how much you're concerned about safety, and that's why you can tell I'm not used to talking in front of people. But that's why I'm up here doing it, because I think it's really, and I think what really bothers me about it is this developer has come into Estacade and you've given him this much room to develop. And he's right up against it right now. He's right there against it. Why can't he just give up and just say, you know what, this is stupid. 4 driveways coming out into this area is not smart. 2 people have already gone off this road. You're going to have people backing out onto Lawrence Road right at those curves you're going to come around. I just think it deserves looking at again. I appreciate you guys letting me just jump up here and talk. Thank you very much.
I appreciate the feedback.
Thank you, Larry.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Carrie, thank
Glad
you.
you came. Voice of the people is important. People, things happen. And I just want to say, people that have to live with something on a decision by other people, it's sometimes rough. But you know what? We look at stuff, and sometimes it takes another set of eyes to look at things. It doesn't mean that things can't be changed, but the ripple effect of something when it comes to safety is it safe? Bottom line, does it work? I say that because you don't get the 360-degree picture on everything on each item. It very seldom works that way, especially in construction. So considering what you said, there can be another set of eyes look. It doesn't mean anything other than another set of eyes look. We'll go look. Your voice is important.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I think that it's just important to realize this developer's gotten so much, he doesn't need to put driveways there. I think it's just, that's the limit, that's the line, is Lawrence Road. He's taking it right up to Lawrence Road. We feel he's going to cause huge danger.
That's why we're here, for safety. That's one of our banner overs. So we'll take a look. I don't know the outcome, but we'll look. So that's the best we can do. Okay. All right. I just drank it black. We hear your voice. Okay, any other thing on committees or the comments? Any other comments? Happy Doodle comments? Okay, well, did we get stuff done?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for the report, Chief Mendoza. This is a good thing that's coming to the town, you know. We got these issues and it's good to have an answer for stuff. So I just appreciate everybody coming tonight. And it was probably a little different meeting, but everybody seems to be smiling. we can all move forward somehow together here in this stuff, you know, and, but, honestly, the public's voice is to run government, not the government to run the public. That might be an old concept, but that's the way it's supposed to be. So I love the public's voice. And we are servants of the public. That statement is something that builds trust and commitment with people. It makes a community. And the word community means common unity. Doesn't mean communism. It means common unity. So I say these things because we have a set of ears to listen to people, and we really, really need to listen to people. And as we hear, we can move into changes. That's what's really good. I mean, the law coming up with I love the law because you can't reward bad behavior. You can't give a seal of approval on things that are wrong and expect it to fix anything. And we have morality inside of us. We understand right and wrong. And, but there's always working together in agreement to find a better solution for stuff. And that's what I see is happening with, what Chief Mendoza is bringing forth here. There's issues. Not everybody is evil. Some people are just stuck in a spot that they can't get out of, and they need help. And then on the other hand, other people live that life and they don't care. And they make the choice to live a certain lifestyle. But in the thing of government, and I say this because government is for the people, by the people, and of the people. That's why we're sitting here. So I just say these things because the voice of people, to me, is extremely important. And I think everybody can run with that. And that's Bill's relationship. So with the end of that, I will say the meeting is adjourned. Have a lovely evening.